Under the sun-scorched savanna, the honey badger surges into pursuit like a flash of lightning. Its strength is not defined by appearance, but by close pressure that forces opponents into mistakes. Whether hunting or facing a confrontation, it advances repeatedly, refusing to retreat. Knocked down, it rises again. Death is treated as nothing more than a test. In the spiral of survival, the most feared force is the one that makes an opponent believe defeat is inevitable from the very first moment. Deep within the vast wilderness, honey is not just something sweet. It is liquid gold, concentrated energy powerful enough to draw in the most fearless creatures. At this moment, the honey badger doesn't move like a hunter. It moves like one returning home. It does not search for luck. It follows a map of memory. Its sense of smell reaches across thousands of feet, catching traces of sweetness in thin air and correcting every step. When temperatures drop below 75 degrees Fahrenheit, the process begins. Not blindly. With claws measuring about 1.5 inches, it carefully opens aged wood from the edges, controlled, deliberate, designed to manage the chaos that follows. Bees surge outward like a wave of heat. But skin nearly 0.25 inches thick turns the honey badger into a living shield, resistant to repeated stings. Yet claws and skin are not the whole story. What truly allows survival is restraint. It takes only what is needed, then withdraws. Greed is never allowed to lead the way. Under the harsh African savanna sun, a golden figure patrols like a living clock of power. It is the lion, the ruler of the grasslands, declaring that this land has an owner. But today, a small movement cuts through the stillness. The honey badger. It moves straight ahead, crossing the lion's path as if unaware of any hierarchy of the plains. The lion closes in, the distance shrinking quickly. The honey badger does not retreat. Instead, its posture sends a warning. One more step will carry a cost. Thick yet loose skin allows it to twist and turn, making it difficult to pin down. Scent glands release a strong musk, an invisible barrier that forces the opponent to reconsider. The standoff stretches for more than 20 minutes, not to decide a winner, but to measure energy and risk. In the end, the lion stops and turns away, not out of fear, but because a true ruler knows which encounters are worth the price. On the savanna, authority is not only about size, but about awareness. Sometimes ignoring a smaller target is how territory is preserved for tomorrow. However, if the honey badger moves deeper into the center of a pride, especially among multiple hungry lionesses, the balance can shift very quickly. When numbers close in and no retreat remains, boldness can become the cost of stepping too far. In the natural world, danger often hides beneath cold scales. Cobras and vipers strike in an instant, about 0.3 seconds, a product of evolution at its finest. With venom projected up to roughly 8 feet, these reflex-driven hunters create a danger zone most animals instinctively avoid. Yet there is one creature ready to challenge that rule: the honey badger. Weighing only around 30 pounds, yet carrying the resolve of something far larger. It steps directly into the danger boundary, eyes fixed on the target. The snake climbs into the branches to escape. The honey badger follows, quickening the pursuit. A brief loss of balance. The opponent drops to the ground. Moments later, the encounter settles and the tension fades. The snake's most feared defense, venom, meets the honey badger's natural resistance. Even after a bite, it may collapse briefly, rest, and then rise again not long after to continue on. It is this quiet toughness, without display, that allows this survivor to endure into tomorrow. African wild dogs, seasoned hunters with an 80% success rate, a figure that surpasses both lions and leopards. Their strength does not come from muscle, but from cold, disciplined pack strategy built on endurance and precision. Yet when the circle closes, the honey badger shows no hesitation. Instead of yielding, it chooses a proactive defense, striking first to create space. It attacks while moving, forcefully driving predators back. Most importantly, it deliberately pulls the encounter toward dense cover. In tight terrain, the conflict shifts to one-on-one. At close range, the pack's numerical advantage is neutralized. Wild dogs are not the only notorious threat. Hyenas are equally feared. An adult can weigh over 140 pounds, about 7 times heavier than its opponent. With a bite force reaching roughly 1,100 pounds per square inch, they are built to overpower through pressure and intimidation. They rely not only on pursuit, but on psychological stress. Their sharp vocalizations and relentless advances create an atmosphere that can overwhelm even the most resilient animals. Aware of this, the honey badger always acts first, targeting moments of weakness to disrupt resolve. If the opposing formation falters, even briefly, it disappears into the brush. With sharp judgment paired with unyielding determination, the honey badger becomes a target that is never easily claimed. Facing a rock python stretching over 12 feet, the honey badger steps into a survival gamble on dry grassland. Coiled muscles tighten like steel cables, turning every breath into a race against time. Despite being vastly smaller, the honey badger remains a presence even reptiles treat with caution. The pursuit begins as it tracks the python by scent. using an acute sense of smell to probe rocky gaps until the target is found resting in the grass. Without hesitation, the honey badger moves in. The python responds with rapid defensive strikes, then attempts to restrain with pressure reaching about 25 pounds per square inch. At that moment, a curious jackal passes nearby. The python's focus slips for an instant, and the hold loosens. Seizing the brief opening, the honey badger breaks free, closes the distance, and acts swiftly. Ignoring all outside distractions, it pulls the heavy opponent, weighing dozens of pounds, into thick brush to secure its hard-earned meal, while jackals watch from a distance. On the savanna, strength alone is never a guaranteed advantage. Composure and timing are what allow survival to continue. On the unforgiving plains, survival is a true equation of energy. The honey badger never waits for a free meal. Every target is a carefully calculated raid. When facing a leopard tortoise, a mobile fortress weighing about 40 pounds with a heavily calcified shell, the honey badger does not waste effort on the outer armor. Instead, it patiently searches for weakness along the shell's edge, using sharp claws like levers to grip, lift, and shift the center of balance. When the defensive posture becomes unstable, the encounter ends with a calm that feels almost unsettling. Moving into marshland, it even challenges the Nile crocodile, a giant known for a bite force reaching roughly 3,700 psi. In the territory of such giants, the honey badger avoids direct confrontation. It stays within blind spots, waiting for a moment of imbalance before applying control. The encounter settles as the target is drawn into dense cover, leaving behind a heavy, lingering silence. The leopard is the ghost of open woodland, silent, patient, and precise as a clean cut. With a lean body weighing over 100 pounds, it dominates through camouflage and sudden bursts of speed. When a young honey badger falls within its focus, the leopard begins a high-stakes encounter, pressing the target into a narrowing corner. But the moment a distress call breaks the air, the mother honey badger appears like a black and white flash. Without hesitation, she moves in with explosive force, closing distance repeatedly to disrupt the predator's rhythm. Her overwhelming aggression forces the leopard, despite its greater size, to pull back. The small patch of grass instantly becomes an untouchable zone. Though the leopard returns more than once to probe the area, attempting to use patience and cunning to find an opening, the outcome does not change. Against unyielding resolve and a powerful protective instinct, even the most confident hunter is compelled to abandon the plan. On the open savanna, the lion, a predator known for dominance, does not always keep the upper hand. It moves forward with the confidence of long-held power, yet nature never signs a permanent contract. A sudden, forceful counterstrike erupts, breaking momentum in a split second. Tactics, terrain, and one brief hesitation converge at once, turning strength into a weakness. When the ruler is pushed back, who truly holds power in this cycle of balance? The hippopotamus is the hot-tempered gatekeeper of Africa's murky waterways. Its body weighs several thousand pounds, shoulders rising like a living block of stone. When its mouth opens nearly 150 degrees, tusks longer than 1.5 feet appear like warning signs, signaling that this territory follows its own rules. At times, lions move along the water's edge, searching for opportunity. But shallow water is not familiar ground for large cats. One sudden surge sends the surface into motion, forcing the lions to scatter and clear the path ahead. The hippo's jaw pressure can reach around 1,800 pounds per square inch, turning any close approach into a gamble with an extreme cost. Even on land, the hippopotamus is far from slow. It can accelerate to about 20 miles per hour over short distances, enough to push lions into retreat. There is no prolonged pursuit, only a boundary redrawn quickly and decisively. And sometimes, a single lapse in spacing is enough to change the outcome. A lioness that ventures too close may trigger an instant response, forcing her to abandon the attempt amid sudden confusion. This encounter is a reminder that authority shifts with terrain. On open ground, the lion stands as a symbol of dominance. At the water's edge, the hippopotamus is the one guarding the threshold. The lion understands that withdrawal, in this setting, is the most calculated path to survival. In the grassland ecosystem, the spotted hyena is not simply a scavenger, but a true crushing powerhouse. At around 190 pounds, it carries jaws that can deliver up to 1,100 pounds per square inch of bite force, strong enough to break through the toughest bones of large prey. Yet its most formidable advantage is not the individual, but the collective. A clan of up to 80 members operating under a strict matriarchal social structure, using a complex system of calls to coordinate and press an encounter. The relationship between lions and hyenas is not only competition for food, but an enduring clash between two empires. In a one-on-one confrontation, a lion typically holds the advantage through a 420-pound build and lightning-fast reflexes. One well-timed strike can instantly shut down a reckless challenge if a hyena tries to test that authority alone. But the balance shifts completely when a lioness or a cub becomes separated from the group. Hyenas use speed and movement to surround, repeatedly targeting vulnerable openings to drain the opponent's stamina. When their numbers reach an overwhelming ratio, fear fades, replaced by pure intensity. They rise into a strange chorus of laughing calls, surrounding and driving the ruler back to take the hard-earned prize of a hunt. In that moment, a lion's authority can collapse under the force of a night-born alliance. This reversal shows that power does not always belong to the strongest individual, but to those that know how to use group strength to turn the outcome. In the heart of the Serengeti, the giraffe stands as the tallest animal on the planet. A male can reach about 18 feet in height and weigh close to 3,000 pounds. Behind the elegant silhouette lies a formidable defense system. Legs longer than 6 feet, with tendons and muscles drawn tight like steel cables. A well-placed kick carries the force of a heavy impact, enough to make any predator reassess its approach. Lions understand that a fully grown adult is rarely an easy option. They move in quietly, cut angles, and pressure the giraffe toward tall grass to limit visibility, sometimes risking a leap onto the flank to gain leverage. But the giraffe rarely panics. It pivots on a diagonal, maintains distance, then sweeps its legs in wide arcs like an invisible barrier. One accurate strike is enough to force a close approach to retreat, and the pride must spread out to avoid the next swing. For a mother giraffe protecting a calf, every movement becomes even more decisive. She constantly positions herself as a shield, using powerful kicks to maintain a clear exclusion zone, turning the encounter into a test of distance. In most outcomes, lions choose to withdraw because the cost of a single misjudged moment is too high. On the savanna, the rhinoceros is not a tough target, but a hard limit. A full-grown adult can weigh around 5,500 pounds, with skin nearly 2 inches thick like natural armor. At the front sits a keratin horn close to 3 feet long, a constant warning to anything that approaches that this is not a place to gamble. The lion still draws near on hunting instinct, circling, cutting angles, waiting for a lapse. But the rhino rarely offers an opening. One horn drive is enough to turn any close approach into a high-risk calculation, and when the lion shifts to search for a different angle, the rhino only needs a well-timed pivot, keeping the horn locked forward. With short burst speed that can reach about 35 miles per hour, it quickly restores a safe gap and forces the opponent to reassess. That is why many encounters end quickly. The rhinoceros does not need to chase to prove anything. It only needs to hold its ground. And the grassland adjusts itself around a fortress that knows how to keep a boundary. In ecology, power sometimes is not about pursuit, but about the ability to make others stop on their own. Along Africa's migration corridors, elephants move like a rolling fortress, weighing up to about 13,000 pounds and standing over 10 feet tall. But what makes lions cautious is not size alone. Elephant herds also communicate through infrasound that can travel for miles, functioning like an invisible warning network across the grasslands. When lions try to close in, the usual goal is to separate a calf from the formation. Adult elephants respond immediately by building a defensive circle, facing outward and moving the young into the center. A trunk with more than 40,000 muscle bundles becomes a tool for controlling space, pulling, pushing, and creating distance. Tusks that can reach about 8 feet mark a hard boundary that stops any close approach. If pressure escalates, elephants can surge forward at nearly 25 miles per hour, throwing up dust and sending a ground-level rumble that feels like thunder. When tons of weight move in a single direction, lions typically back away because one mistimed moment at close range can erase every route out. This encounter is a reminder that the greatest power in an ecosystem is sometimes not found in pursuit, but in unity, memory, and the ability to protect the next generation. In the southern Serengeti, where the grasslands stretch for miles, African wild dogs move like disciplined arrows. Each individual weighs only about 60 pounds, yet can sustain speeds close to 44 miles per hour over long distances, turning endurance into a weapon and turning every pursuit into a prolonged test for any opponent. When a male lion appears, the pack understands its limits and avoids direct confrontation. They wait for openings, a lone lioness, or a moment when cubs are no longer fully shielded. From there, the wild dogs launch multi-directional pressure, rotating quick advances and withdrawals, gradually wearing down the lion's muscle advantage through relentless pace. Brief snapping strikes force the lion to pull back to keep cubs safe, because a single delayed response can unravel the entire situation. African wild dogs often show a very high hunting success rate, close to 80%, but confidence also brings risk. If a chase goes too far, the entire pack can push deep into a male lion's territory. At that point, a well-timed counteraction is enough to disrupt formation, and one frontline individual can vanish from view in an instant. These moments of misalignment help shape the future of both species. In many populations, More than half of lion cubs do not survive their first year, and only a little over 20% reach adulthood, depending on food availability and the level of territorial instability. The honey badger is not immortal, but few animals match its endurance and awareness. It survives by choosing its battles, using the terrain, striking when necessary, and pulling back at the right moment. Each survival becomes a challenge to the limits of every predator it encounters. If this journey of survival feels inspiring, a like helps support the series. To follow the encounters ahead, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications.